Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special presentation. Today, we will delve even deeper into a hypothetical scenario with significant global implications. What would happen to the world if Russia and Ukraine start bombing each other with nuclear weapons? As mentioned before, this is purely a fictional scenario, but its gravity emphasizes the need to understand the catastrophic consequences of nuclear conflict. Let's embark on a comprehensive analysis. In this grim hypothetical scenario, tensions between Russia and Ukraine reach an unprecedented boiling point, resulting in both nations resorting to the use of nuclear weapons against each other. The world would be engulfed in unprecedented chaos and devastation, with far-reaching consequences. The initial exchange of nuclear strikes would cause catastrophic destruction in both countries. Major cities and strategic military installations would be the primary targets, leading to an unimaginable loss of life and destruction of vital infrastructure. The ripple effect of such an act of aggression would extend well beyond Russia and Ukraine. The entire European region would experience the repercussions, with neighboring countries facing immediate threats from nuclear fallout, radiation exposure, and waves of refugees fleeing the conflict. Nuclear explosions release vast amounts of radioactive particles into the atmosphere, leading to nuclear fallout. Wind patterns could carry these dangerous particles across borders and oceans, causing radiation contamination in distant regions. The global environment and ecosystems would face dire consequences, further exacerbating the severity of the disaster. The global economy would be severely affected. Financial markets would crash, trade would grind to a halt, and investor confidence would plummet. The cost of reconstruction in the affected regions, coupled with humanitarian aid efforts, would place an enormous strain on economies worldwide. The psychological toll on survivors and witnesses of such devastation would be immense. The trauma, fear, and anguish experienced by those directly and indirectly affected would leave deep scars on the global psyche, impacting generations to come. The international community would face an unprecedented challenge in responding to this catastrophic scenario. The scale of the humanitarian crisis would be unprecedented. Millions of displaced people, seeking safety and survival, would overwhelm neighboring countries. The demand for food, shelter, medical aid, and other essentials would stretch relief agencies to their limits. The conflict would ignite a massive wave of migration, not only from Russia and Ukraine but also from the surrounding regions. Countries far beyond the conflict zone would have to accommodate millions of refugees, straining resources and social cohesion. The United Nations and other international bodies would urgently mobilize to mediate a ceasefire and initiate peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. However, the complexity of the post-nuclear conflict situation and deep-rooted historical tensions would make diplomatic resolution challenging. With such high stakes and multiple stakeholders involved, there would be a real risk of escalation into a wider global conflict. The involvement of other nuclear powers and alliances could amplify the crisis, leading to a dangerous arms race and increased geopolitical instability. The dire consequences of nuclear conflict would extend far beyond the initial explosions, leading to a nuclear winter, with far-reaching impacts. The soot and debris released into the atmosphere from the nuclear explosions would block sunlight, causing a significant drop in global temperatures. Agricultural productivity would sharply decline, leading to food shortages and threatening the livelihoods of billions of people. The disruption of agricultural production due to nuclear winter, combined with radiation-contaminated farmlands, would result in a worldwide food crisis. Famine and malnutrition would become widespread, particularly in vulnerable regions already struggling with food insecurity. The environment would suffer severe damage due to the release of radioactive material and the destruction of ecosystems. Biodiversity loss, pollution, and ecological imbalances would further threaten global stability and well-being. The health consequences of nuclear radiation exposure would persist for generations. Increased cancer rates, genetic mutations, and other radiation-related illnesses would burden healthcare systems and add to the already overwhelming humanitarian challenges. The long-term effects of nuclear conflict would lead to increased civil unrest, lawlessness, and potential state collapse in some regions. The world would grapple with how to maintain order and provide essential services amid such chaos. The stark picture we have painted today is not meant to instill fear but to remind us of the importance of global peace and cooperation. This fictional scenario serves as a powerful call to action to prevent such a calamity from ever becoming reality. It is crucial that we continue fostering diplomacy, empathy, and mutual understanding between nations. The promotion of nuclear disarmament, conflict resolution, and peaceful dialogue must remain our collective priority. Let us use this hypothetical lesson to strengthen our resolve and commitment to building a better world for ourselves and future generations. Together, we can work towards a safer, more peaceful, and sustainable planet. Thank you for joining us in this thought-provoking journey. Let us all be ambassadors of peace and advocates for a world free from the horrors of nuclear conflict.